Welcome to The Explainer. Okay, today we are diving into something that's going to make you question, well, pretty much everything. It's based on a talk by Loon, and the big idea is this. What if all the movement you see, everything you experience, is just an illusion?
So, Loon kicks things off with this pretty wild claim. I mean, think about it. It just seems to fly in the face of everything we know, right? We see cars whizzing by, people walking down the street. Even our own thoughts feel like they're in constant motion. So, how can he possibly say none of that is actually happening?
And that is the giant paradox we're going to try and unpack together. I mean, if our whole reality is built on this idea of motion, how can someone just say, nope, not real? To get it, we really have to dig into his core argument.
Okay, so first things first. To even begin to wrap our heads around this, we need to be super clear on what he actually means by movement. It's a bit bigger than just, things moving from point A to point B.
Yeah, so we're not just talking about a ball rolling across the floor. In this framework, movement is basically any kind of process that feels continuous. Think about a thought slowly forming in your mind, or a feeling that seems to last for a few minutes, or even a sound that just keeps going. Any of that ongoing stuff, that's what he's talking about.
So he wants us to consider this really radical alternative. What if that constant flow, that stream of consciousness we feel, what if it's just a perception? What if underneath it all, reality is completely, totally, 100% still? No process, no activity, nothing.
Now, I know that sounds like a huge leap. So, to help us get there, the speaker walks us through this really cool thought experiment, and it all boils down to how we think about time. Okay, so picture 1 second of movement. Simple, right? Now let's slice that second into tenths. Got it? Okay, now take one of those tiny slices and chop it up again into thousandths of a second, then millionths. You see where this is going, right? We can just keep dividing and dividing, getting into smaller and smaller and smaller slices of time, forever.
So here's the kicker. When we get down to the absolute smallest possible sliver of a moment, a point in time so short it literally has no duration, the whole idea of a process just falls apart. I mean, in a single instant that has zero length, can anything actually move? It can't, right? So where the heck does the movement we think we see actually come from?
And that thought experiment leads us to the heart of the matter. If reality isn't this smooth, continuous process, then what is it? Well, the speaker suggests a totally different way of looking at it.
Okay, so instead of a smooth, flowing river of time, think of it more like an old-school film reel, It's not one continuous moving picture. It's actually a bunch of separate, still frames, snapshots that are just flashing by so fast that our brain connects the dots and calls it movement. Now get this, each one of those frames, or appearances as he calls them, is its own little universe. It's completely self-contained. It doesn't grow out of the last moment, and it doesn't cause the next one. It just, poof, appears from nowhere and then disappears into nowhere. It just is, for a flash so quick it doesn't even contain time.
And here's a real mind-bender for you. Think about it. You can only ever experience something that's here, right now, something that's appearing. You can't experience something that's not there? Like the speaker asks, how can you notice something when it's gone? It's impossible. So that feeling we have of something lasting, of continuity, it has to be an illusion, stitched together by our minds from all these super fast flashes of reality.
So this whole idea isn't just about the outside world. It completely flips the script on how we understand our own minds and how we perceive anything at all.
Okay, so this next part is a bit of a riddle, almost like a Zen koan. It sounds like a total contradiction, but there's a really cool point to it. It's all about deconstructing the simple act of seeing.
Let's break this down. Your eye, it's just a piece of hardware, an organ. It doesn't see any more than a camera sees. Then your mind takes all the signals and builds this story, this process we call seeing, making it feel like it's happening over time. But at the very, very bottom of it all, there's just see, a single, momentary flash. It's not an action that you are doing. It's just a reality that appears for an instant.
Okay, let's zoom out. If everything is just this series of disconnected flashes, these fleeting appearances, what does that even mean? What are the implications for, our lives, our memories, our very idea of who we are?
Well, it leads to a pretty staggering conclusion. That whole continuous story of your life, the person you were yesterday, the journey you've been on since you were a kid, all of it is essentially a story.
It's a grand illusion your mind creates by stringing together these totally separate, momentary appearances.
So, let's sum up the key takeaways here. First, that solid, continuous you that you feel like you are, it's actually a brand new thing appearing in every single instant. Second, time isn't a river we're flowing down. It's just the mental glue we use to stick all those instants together. And third, movement is the big illusion that pops out of all of that. To really drive this home, the speaker uses this quote to draw a line in the sand. What is real? That's the deep, unmoving, quiet stillness underneath everything. It can't be touched. And what is unreal? Well, that's the whole show, the world of appearances, of movement, of time, and in this view, it doesn't really exist at all.
And that leads us to this really beautiful way of thinking about it. We're not actually travelers on some big journey through time and space. We've always been right here, at rest, at home. The entire experience of life, of movement, of everything, it's all just a dream happening inside that perfect stillness.
So we're left with this final, really provocative question to think about. If there's no continuous you, no journey from past to future, if there's only this single momentary flash of an appearance, then what are you right now in this very instant? It's a heavy one for sure, and definitely something to ponder long after this is over.